We've got the troop in tow. Come on, piggies. And we're heading off down here. It's taken me actually a day longer more to get them out because they didn't want to come across the bridge at all. So just had to do a bit of practice feeding with them. Come on, piggies. This is my lead pig here. She's a real pet. And she keeps all the rest of them in line. Come on, guys. Now we're happily in the new place. I got one of their tanks here. I got to go and get their water and the fence and get them settled in. Happy piggies. We got all this to reach through. Get a bit of work done on our gobbledygook, so we just put on our base, and I just want to make sure that my axle is well secured. So we've basically got it bolted on here, here, and both the axles, so the whole thing's solid. And you typically need to leave at least 900mm or 3 foot of a clearance on your drawbar, so when you're turning you're not catching there. That's the standard drawbar length. And now I got to build up. Mine's going to be 2.1 meters high from this here, and I think we're maybe like 300mm off there, so it'll end up being like 2.4, which is 8 foot high altogether. And I need to get cracking. Okay, so that's the back roof support up and braced, and you're going to have a lot of live weight swaying this way on it, so it's good to put a good strong brace in there. And I'll put a brace in the front, and I'll put that in the opposite direction, and that'll stop any side swaying when they're all on there at night, because you could theoretically, if you didn't side brace it, the whole thing could collapse over like this here. So always brace. It's a hot one here today, guys. I'm just working on the gobbledygook, and I've got the pretty much all the structure for the roof on, and I'm just going to lift the tin on now, and I think it's time for a little break. I am sweating bullets. I'm not used to all this heat, but it's nice to see it. It's really good for growth. We get a nice dew in the morning, so far there's no signs of any drought or anything. Plus it won't last forever here in Ireland, so I'm going to get the roof on this and I'll give you a look at it then. And the gobbledygook is almost there. We've got the roof on, we've got all the roosts on. There's 12 roosts, 2 meters long, and then there's all these other bars as well in here. Now we just got to fit the the shade cloth on the side and the back, fit the jockey wheel, and we're good to go. So the overall measurements of the roof, it's 5 meters long by 2 meters wide, and then the roof, all the roosts fit in underneath that, and there's 12 roosts in total. And as you can see, we've braced it, so we've cross braced it here on the back, so we can brace from moving this way, and then the bars for carrying the roosts brace it forward and back, so it's solid all the way around. And then these stands just help spread the weight out, and I normally put I normally jam a little post in there and run it off to the ground just to give it a little bit more stability in high winds. Beautiful morning on the farm, and it's so nice to work early in the morning. It's nice and cool, not so hot, and morning chores are getting a little bit easier now because the brooder's empty, chicken tractors are empty, so the broilers are all in the roller pens now, so that cuts a little bit off it. I picked up some hay day before yesterday, and this is because we're overwintering goats. We typically only overwinter the laying hens, but we're going to be overwintering goats, so got in a bit of hay. Now my plan is to keep them out for, depending how wet it gets, but at some point I'll probably have to put them inside. I'll put them in the brooder, and we'll have plenty of hay here for them. And this is nearly too good a quality for the goats, and it's really good quality sheep or cattle hay, but it's got good fibre in it. And I've just put it in the polytunnel here and left loads of spaces through it because it was made in really good weather, but if there's that, it'll just help take the last bit of moisture out of it and save it well, and then I'll move it into the brooder where we'll be feeding it in the winter time. but it's nice to have the winter fodder saved up. And our plan is, I had to buy this, bought it from a friend, and it's actually made just down the road from here. But my plan is to get the main field on farm 2 into hay production, so that we'll be able to produce our own winter fodder in future years. This is going to be our water setup on the new farm. So this is my feed pipe. This is a 3/4 heavy gauge, and it runs way off up into a drain. There's a stream, that runs down along here, and there's a nice pool up there, and it's got way more head than here. So I've ran that up there, and it runs into our tank. Now I filled this tank up, but I'm going to let this water out again because I put no filter on it. So if we pull this out, you'll see that's my flow there, and it's steady all the time. If I lift it up, I know I'll go over my head here somewhere. Come on. Yeah, so the intake of the pipe is gravity fed. The pipe is now above the intake, and if I start to lower it down, we'll go below the intake again. It's going to make a layer out of me. There we go. We're below the intake again, so the water starts to flow. So we're gravity fed here, which is good. Now we need to filter this going into our tank, because there'll be all this little critters and everything coming in there. We don't want that going into our pipe system, so I'll show you that in a second. But the important thing here is we're going to want to put the water into the tank, and we want it coming in at the bottom. So then we've got our overflow at the top, and now your overflow needs to be at least the same size pipe, if not bigger. And I've got a 3/4 again going out, and that runs off. You can see it going back into the stream there. So really important that your overflow is at least, if not bigger, than your intake, otherwise it won't really work. And then for our filter, I'm just going to drop in, this is just a 4-inch sewer pipe with some fine filter on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this pipe up with gravel. This is just like little pea gravel, and the intake water will have to go down through all this and through this membrane here, so that'll filter out any dirt, any little critters or anything, so that they won't block up my pipe. Because this is on this end I've got this is a 1/2-inch pipe which runs way off. There's 150 meters of this runs off down to the middle of the front field, and that's going to be my water supply. So I don't want any critters or bugs going down this pipe, so I'm actually going to empty out this tank now and set up my filter. That's my filter in, and I have my in-feed water pouring in there. And what I'll do is I'll actually, because the stones will be a little bit dirty, I wash them a little bit, but we'll probably let the tank fill up a little bit, shake up the filter, let that water run out, and then we'll hook up our pipe then, and that's our filtered water system ready to go. So this is a rented farm, so we don't want to invest in too much, and whatever we do invest in, we want to take it with us. So we've very little invested here. This is an IBC tank we just had on the farm. I mean, you can buy these good quality ones, clean ones, for 50 euros here in Ireland. And I bought 150 meters of 1/2-inch pipe, which cost 50 euros. So that's 100 euros. And then I had some pipe, so I'd say another 50 euros, and some fittings is 50. So you're talking for like 200 euros. I've put in water for pretty much at least half the farm. The bit behind me, higher up, I would have to pump water up there, or I could build a little structure up the top to catch rainwater, maybe make that work. But I don't need water up there right now because I'm not using that so much. It's only going to be for sheep who really don't need that much water. I don't mind carrying it up. But for the lower part of the farm, which is way off down here, I'm bringing my turkeys in there, so they'll need water. Maybe next year I'll bring my layers in there, so they would need water. So this system here, and what I didn't explain is the filter goes all the way down into the bottom of the tank. So that means the fresh water is coming in at the bottom, and then the overflow is at the top. So the water has to turn over all the time, and that's really important that you have good turnover. Keeps the water nice and fresh in there. And it's in the shade of this big tree, so it's always going to be cool. So now I'm pumping, and it's coming from the stream, which is all shaded. So I'm going to have, my animals are going to have nice cool water even in the hottest day. And I'm going to have 1,000 litres on storage, so even if it got really dry, I've got a good spell here, and I'm not too far from the main road. So if it got into like a really dry spell that the stream dried up, I could bring in water and pump it into this tank and feed the system that way. Just taking a bit of me time here, and what a beautiful place. And the sea is just so calm. I've got the sun setting here in the west, and just doing a spot of fishing, spinning, hoping maybe catch some mackerel or pollock. It's a little bit early for mackerel here, but it's just nice to take a bit of time, relax, and gather my thoughts. And what a more beautiful place. And Sligo off in the distance there. And watch the sun go down. I'm just up here on the new farm, and I just moved the sheep. They're now down in this patch, and this is what they're doing to the grass, just flattening it out. They're still leaving some bunches, but we're effectively putting down a big layer of mulch. And now to stir that up, I've got the team up there. That's the turkeys. We just moved them up here yesterday, so we'll go up and have a look at them. Now we're just running 2 50-meter poultry nets with these guys. Runs all around there, and because we're really putting these to work now, we'll be moving based on when they've got this well flattened out and stirred a bit of life into the ground. So that'll determine how often we're moving. Probably every 3 to 4 days I think we'll move. My best guesstimate, but we'll find out with time. These guys are really putting on good weight, and when we go back to the farm we'll look at the gobbledygook. I nearly have the next gobbledygook ready to go, which I'm sure these guys will appreciate. But we're just getting them in here and working the ground over with them after the sheep, and hopefully we'll help push back the rushes and get some more grasses coming. What do you think, guys? It's a bit hot this weather for you, isn't it? These are doing fine. And if you can remember from back to the filter in the tank, it's really important that I put that filter in the tank, because I'm using ball cock. If any dirt was to get down there, it would block up that there, and then the birds would have no water, and in this really hot weather that would be fatal. So all these little things all add up to a smooth operation. And show me your feathers. There you go.